He told his child their existence was cursed last night. Yes, they heard him clearly. Someone out there released words not of love but of shadow, not once, not twice, but 3 times, over the course of one breath. And those words were aimed straight at them. Who was this person? Why would anyone carry such fire in their mouth? And what exactly did they try to touch? These questions hung like thunder before a storm, and before this message ends, they will understand them all. Listen closely now, because what the Lord revealed to them was no dream, not a superstition, not a story meant to frighten. It was a divine warning wrapped in mercy. During the stillness of midnight, while the world slept and even the stars seemed to hold their breath, a disturbance moved through the air. It was as thin as smoke and as heavy as stone. It whispered their name 3 times each, time darker than the last. He felt it immediately. Before the whisper faded, the sound reached the throne of light, and the entire realm of heaven trembled in awareness. The vibration of those words carried intent, and intent has a scent. It cannot hide from the presence of the eternal. He knew at once that this was not accident, but design. So he called his messengers and said, "Follow this sound through every layer of night. Trace it until you find its origin." He demanded to see who spoke such darkness against someone marked by his own hand, and the angels obeyed. They flew faster than lightning through the unseen, their armor gleaming like mirrors of dawn. They crossed through places where thought becomes wind and memory turns to echo. They tracked the path second by second, heartbeat by heartbeat, until the whispering voice was heard as clearly as if the speaker stood right before them. At last they arrived at the spot where the dark venom rose, a small room lit by a single flickering flame, and there they saw her. No stranger, not some distant figure, lost in a crowd, but a woman who knows his child by name. She once spoke blessings with that same tongue, yet envy had now turned her words into daggers. Deep resentment brewed inside her until it became a storm, and last night that storm broke. She was not chanting ancient rituals nor summoning spirits of power. She was calling upon her own bitterness. Yet bitterness is still powerful when mixed with will and traveling far, if left unchecked. She spoke the believer's name as though an accusation. She described their home, the faces of those who love them, the very laughter that fills their walls. She pictured them in her mind and tried to cover them in sorrow. His angels watched in silence, for they cannot strike without his word. Instead, they carried every word to him, laying it before the throne of judgment. And when he heard it, he said, "This must be answered with revelation." That is why this message has found them. This is their moment of exposure and protection combined. Now they must open their heart. They need not fear what is revealed, because revelation is never sent to frighten, it is sent to free. The woman who released this darkness is bound to her own confusion. She is already reaping the restlessness she intended for them, but his child must know what it tried to touch, so they can strengthen what remains. There were 3 areas she spoke, against 3 lights she wanted dimmed. These are not random pieces of their life. They are the pillars that hold their blessing. They are relationship, joy, and purpose, the very essence of being seen, being alive, and being destined. The first she tried to strike was relationship. She wished for misunderstanding to settle between them and those they cherish. She pictured their conversations turning cold, their laughter replaced by distance. She hoped small arguments would grow into walls. But as she spoke, the Lord whispered another word louder than her peace. The word peace moved like fire through their home. They did not see it, but the air changed. The invisible cords that bind hearts in love were tightened instead of loosened. Where she hoped for silence, he sent réconciliation. Where she planned suspicion, he sowed trust. What she intended to divide, he welded, woven with grace. The second attack targeted their joy. She despised the light that rested on their face when they smiled for no reason. She wanted that inner glow to flicker and fade, so others would no longer see hope in their eyes. She spoke weariness into the air, hoping they would wake up heavy, uncertain, and dull. But joy from the Lord cannot be stolen. It is never borrowed from circumstance. While she whispered despair, the Lord sent laughter into their dreams. Even as they slept, the melody of heaven played around them, tuning their hearts back to harmony. They will notice soon that moments which should cause worry will suddenly bring them peace. That is the evidence her words failed. Then came the third, the most daring of all. She tried to touch their purpose, the reason for their breath. She wanted them to doubt the path, to look at their reflection and question if they were chosen at all. She wanted confusion to replace clarity. But she forgot one thing. Purpose is not planted by human favor. It is forged in divine fire. Their calling was written before oceans had names. No resentment can rewrite eternal ink. While she spoke limitation, the Lord expanded their borders. Even now, opportunities are forming, quietly waiting for the appointed hour to appear before them. The believer must understand this. Shadows speak loudly only when light is about to increase. The timing of this opposition proves that their breakthrough is near. Every storm that rises at midnight carries the announcement of morning. They are standing closer to transformation than they realize. That is why darkness reacted. It is afraid of what they are about to become. They must not entertain fear. Fear is the only invitation those words could ever accept. Instead, they must let His presence settle over them like armor. The Lord has heard every syllable spoken against them in turn. These will be lessons, not losses. By the time this message reaches its end, the very sound of her envy will serve as testimony of how completely they were protected. Now they must pause and listen beyond the noise of this world. Do they feel that gentle vibration under their ribs, that quiet hum that has no physical source? That is the resonance of light, overtaking darkness inside them. It is the sign that the heavenly host has already begun their counter-song, the melody of reversal. What was meant to weigh them down is already lifting. Then, as those final echoes of darkness drifted into nothing, the heavens began to stir. Archangel Michael rose from the ranks of light, his armor shimmering with the reflection of countless dawns. He bowed once before his throne and said, "Lord, permit us to descend, for the words that have been spoken against your child still linger in the lower air. Let them be answered by truth." And the Lord nodded, because truth is the wind strong enough to clear the smoke of malice. And so Michael descended, leading a host of heavenly light that swept down like a dove. No earthly swords were drawn. Instead, their weapons were truth, mercy, and praise. They moved through those quiet spaces where mortal minds touch spiritual, song flowing through the dreams of those resting and into hearts struggling with doubt. Wherever they walked, they carried a single decree: let every lie be unmasked. Let all that is broken be healed. Arriving at the silent world below, they found the believer resting in peace. Their quiet breathing rose and fell, unaware of the heavenly army keeping watch. The archangel held a glowing hand over the sleeper, filling the room with soft radiance, too gentle to wake them, yet mighty enough to protect. He spoke words older than the very first. Davn, this soul is sealed by the promise of the Lord Almighty. No darkness can claim what bears His seal. With that holy decree, the air itself stirred. Every lingering trace of negative energy that still drifted around the sleeper began to thaw, melting away like ice under the sun, leaving only pure warmth and holy silence. Even the anxious thoughts trying to take root, those quiet whispers of fear and uncertainty crumbled away into nothing. Then Michael turned toward the dark direction, where the spiritual attack had originated. He did not advance with anger. He moved with light, because light never has to battle the shadows. It simply shines, and darkness is vanquished. And as he reached the spot where envy was first born, he raised his blade, glowing like a bright sunrise, piercing the fog, and spoke softly, "Let this heart remember mercy. Let it see. Love cannot be conquered by comparison." And instantly for his child the ripple reversed. The bitterness that had been unleashed began folding back in on itself, not to harm but to teach. The one who had spoken against them suddenly felt a mirror rise before her, showing the reflection of her longing. For envy is only admiration that forgot how to love, and when truth touched her soul, she trembled. The angels did not condemn. They whispered return to compassion. Such is the nature of his justice. It does not humiliate, but transforms. And as this happened, he turned his gaze back to his child. He saw the faint glow of purpose burning brighter in their chest. He saw destiny straightening itself like a tree after a storm. They did not know it, but while they slept, their future was being rewritten in gold. As morning began to climb the horizon, heaven's court gathered for a moment of decree. Every accusation that had been raised was answered by evidence of grace. Michael stood and declared, "The child's relationships are sealed in peace. Their joy is replenished. Their purpose stands untouched." And all of heaven echoed, "So let it be." Then the scroll of reversal was opened. On it were written the new declarations that now govern their path. They are simple but unbreakable. No word of malice shall find lodging in their hearts. Every connection meant for blessing will thrive. Joy will not depend on circumstances, but on his presence. Purpose will unfold in his perfect time. These truths are etched in the record of eternity, never to be erased. From that moment, the balance of their lives began to tilt toward favor again. They may notice even now subtle changes. People who once avoided them, starting to speak kindly, doors that were once shut, beginning to open, ideas that once felt impossible, starting to feel natural. These are not coincidences. They are confirmation. They are the visible signs of invisible verdicts. Still, for his child there is more to do. A blessing sealed in heaven must be declared on earth. That is the law of faith. The echo completes the sound, so they must speak light just as boldly as others may have spoken darkness. He will give them the words. They are a prayer, but also a decree, a reminder to their own souls that they stand in freedom. They take a breath and whisper from their spirits as they pray. A prayer of renewal and rising light, asking the Spirit of the Eternal to rise within them, to fill the corners of their minds with peace, where confusion once lingered, planting understanding, where heaviness dwelt, setting laughter free. May the ties of love grow unbreakable. Let forgiveness water every root. Let no memory become their prison. Let it become a lesson that blooms. O living fire, keep their lamp alight. Let every step they take be guided by wisdom. Let every challenge become strength. Every waiting become patience. Every silence become preparation. And if any word of harm still wanders in the air, let it lose its way and fall into grace. Let it be rewritten into blessing, so that even what was meant for pain will serve as fuel for compassion. They stand in the light of his promise. They carry peace that cannot be stolen. They are loved, guarded, chosen. Amen. When those words are finished, a shift happens, not always loud but certain. A deep exhale is felt, as if the earth itself is letting go. That is the release of everything that tried to hold them yesterday. The space, once filled with anxiety, now fills with clarity. They are told this is not the end of their story. It is the turning point. The lesson of this night will remain that words carry power, that love is stronger than resentment, and that every time they choose grace over retaliation, they rewrite the future in light. Tomorrow they will wake with a strength, one they did not earn, but were given. They use it gently. They speak kindly, even to those who do not understand them. When others ask how they keep standing, they tell the truth that mercy is heavier than malice, and that the light had never needed to fight. It only needed to be revealed. Dawn has come for them, and the sky. He remembers what the night forgot. He may not hear the sound, but every beam of light breaking across the bright horizon carries a message from heaven. It is finished. The unseen battle that trembled through the dark hours has ended in peace. Now the messengers return with news for him. Michael approaches first. His armor is no longer bright from war. It glows with calm, as if sunrise itself rests upon him. He kneels not to show defeat, but completion, and says softly, "The night has released its hold. The one who doubted your light has been shown compassion. Truth has been restored." He listens, and within his chest a warmth unfolds. It is the realization that what once threatened to steal his voice has instead refined it. Michael lifts his gaze and continues, "Your story will become healing for others. Every place you were wounded will become a door for comfort. You will speak, and those who hear you will remember that hope is stronger than despair." Then he opens his hand, and in his palm shines something like a seed made of light. This, he says, is what remained after the trial, the pure essence of what cannot be destroyed. It is faith. He places it gently into his heart, and he feels it take root. Faith is not an idea. It is a rhythm, the quiet certainty that no darkness has the final word. The heavens echo again, "Let restoration begin." And restoration begins quietly. Relationships that once felt strained start to soften. An unexpected message, an act of forgiveness, a shared laugh. After the silence, tested peace returns even stronger, seasoned by deeper understanding. The joy that seemed buried starts to flow through them like a spring through stone, and their purpose, a great shining calling, stands taller than before its prosen edges, sharpened by clarity. Now the Eternal speaks again, telling his children that everything they endured has rewritten their strength. He never sent pain, but he turned art into wisdom. He never approved of betrayal, but he turned betrayal into boundaries. He never wanted their tears, but he gathered them, and from them he formed compassion. They will notice it soon. They will meet someone discouraged, and words will come to them effortlessly. They will comfort others with the same truth that rescued them. That is how light multiplies one healed, heart healing another. The court of heaven still stands open, but the record now reads only one sentence beside their name, vindicated by grazie. Every accusation has faded like mist under the sun. The lesson remains, but the burden is gone. Michael steps back, and another presence fills the air, softer, deeper. It is the sound of his spirit moving close. He is not only the defending judge, he says he is the artist who rebuilds. They feel him tracing new patterns over their journey, opportunities shifting new, allies walking toward them, doors aligning to open at the perfect hour. The earth itself seems to exhale. Birds stir, leaves shift, the day begins, as if creation knows that harmony has been restored. Then he whispers a command, not of warning, but of mission, to carry light wherever words have been twisted, to speak gently but boldly. They must not fear being different, for difference is the signature of their destiny. He reminds his child that faith is not the absence of storms, but the inner calm that remembers the shore. When the wind returns, they must not panic. The same wings that shielded them last night will carry them again. They must notice this every time they choose kindness, when Bitterness tempts them. Another chain falls somewhere they cannot see. Every time they forgive, the future grows lighter. Every time they pray instead of complaining, another star is born in the sky of someone else's night. He will give them signs of confirmation, a letter or message that brings long-awaited clarity. A coincidence, too, perfect to dismiss a peace that settles without explanation. These are not random, but proofs of his presence. He leaves them now with a declaration, because declarations are anchors. Declaring a rebuilt destiny, they stand, whole beneath the light of mercy. What opposed them has become their lesson. What frightened them has become their faith. Every bond of love in their life grows stronger. Every spark of joy within them burns brighter. Every step toward their calling is guided and secure. They forgive the hands that fumbled their trust. They release the words that wounded their heart. They claim peace as their inheritance and purpose as their path. The future is not against them. It is waiting for them. Shuletidbe. Amen. The echo of those words moves through every dimension of their being, and as it fades, only silence remains. The good kind of silence, the silence of completion. Heaven closes the scroll, but the story continues on earth through them. They are ready now, God's child. They walk forward. The day is theirs. Wherever they go, they remember they were never the target of darkness. They were always the testimony of light. For them, the night has passed. The first light of the new day spreads across the horizon like a promise kept. Every sound of morning, the call of a bird, the rustle of leaves is a reminder that renewal is not a rumor. It is reality. They step outside, and the air itself feels different. The wind carries a whisper that only the heart can hear. They survived the shadow and found the dawn. This is what heaven wanted them to know. All along, nothing spoken against love can outlast love itself. As they walk, the memory of fear tries to return, but it no longer fits. The space inside them that once held worry is now filled with peace. Peace is not the absence of motion. It is the quiet confidence found in motion, meaning each step they take draws them deeper into that confidence. From above, Michael watches no longer as a craver, guard, but now as a witness. His sword rests. His gaze is gentle. He turns toward the throne and says, "The child has learned to shine even without our wings." And heaven rejoices not because the danger is gone, but because faith has grown. The Lord speaks once more, his voice moving through sunlight and soil alike. This is their appointed hour of rebuilding. Every place that felt empty will become a foundation. Every tear they sowed will return as understanding. Every delay will serve as preparation. The future that unfolds before them is not merely restoring what was lost. It is expansion. When he rebuilds, he does not replace. He multiplies. Strained connections are now turning into strong alliances. The dreams that seem delayed are aligning with purpose. The resources they thought were gone are returning with increase. They must watch their path closely this week. Small signs will appear, first an Achim, unexpected kindness, a conversation that opens opportunity, an idea that ignites energy again. They must not dismiss them. They are the first ripples of the greater wave already forming. Their task now is simple. Stay awake to grazie. When they wake, they say, "Thank you for this new day." When they rest, they say, "Your peace surrounds me." Faithful gratitude keeps the channel of blessings open while complaining clouds it. Choosing gratitude allows a flow of good to deeply astonish them. Believers must remember they do not walk toward destiny, they are walking in it. Destiny is not some distant place. It is every faithful step they take in trust. When they listen to kindness instead of the fear, they are already fulfilling purpose. Through forgiveness, they are already rewriting history. When they create, share, and offer love, they bring the miracles, the whole world has been waiting for. Now a glimpse is revealed of what lies beyond this present moment. They will stand before those who carry the same heaviness they once felt. Others won't know how to name it, but the faithful will recognize it, and they will speak not as a teacher, but as one who remembers the darkness and has seen the dawn. Their words will carry healing because they are soaked in experience. They will bring calm to the storm, a reminder that peace is possible. This is how the story continues, not with revenge or regret, but with redemption. For every season of pain there is a harvest of empathy. For every silent night there is a morning filled with song. They have been chosen not just to survive, but to guide. Their very lives will become the message. Light always returns. They lift their eyes to the sky, breathing deeply, feeling the warmth upon their skin. That is not just sunlight, it is the smile of heaven upon them. The Lord is with them in every heartbeat, in motion, every breath, in every choice to believe. Again, he bids his child go. They speak hope where others speak fear. They plant peace where others plant doubt. They forgive quickly, love boldly, creating beauty wherever they can. This is how they keep the light burning. And when night comes again, as it always does, they remember what they have learned. The darkness has no memory. It cannot recognize those who shine. They are light now, and light cannot be cursed. They walk in that certainty, letting their story illuminate others. For his child, the story circles back to where all healing begins: stillness. Before they rush into the next hour, they linger here for a breath. They feel the rhythm of life inside them, the pulse that never stopped beating, even when they thought they had lost strength. That pulse is proof that purpose never left them. Closing their eyes, if they will, and picturing a field washed in golden light, they stand there barefoot, the bright ground soft beneath them, the air scented with beginnings. Every sound is gentle, the rustle of leaves, the whisper of distant water, the slow unfolding of dawn. This is not imagination, this is recognition. It is their soul remembering peace. They place their hand over their heart. Do they feel that steady thrum? Each beat is a message: they are still here. They are still chosen. They are still whole. They say it softly. They are still here, letting the words echo inside them until the yesterday's loud noise faded away. He told his child they had walked through shadows, only to find that light was never outside. It was waiting to be revealed from deep within. They learned that silence was not emptiness, but divine preparation. They realized that not every ending meant loss. Some endings are translations, turning deep pain into wisdom. They breathed in deeply. With every inhale they drew in glorious light from the horizon. With every exhale they released everything that no longer belonged: the heavy weight of comparison, tomorrow's worries, and the guilt over what could have been, letting them fall away like leaves in autumn. Those things had served their purpose. They had nothing left to teach. They whispered these truths not as hope, but as absolute fact. They were free to love. They were free to trust again. They were safe to grow. They were guided by light. They were surrounded by peace. They were whole. Each phrase was a seed. The more they spoke them, the deeper they took root. And soon they would notice their blossoms, new friendships, calm thoughts, and doors opening without any struggle. They would not rush. Flowers never bloom faster by force. They simply tended them with gratitude. As they stood in that golden field of the memory, they imagined Michael's voice once, more calm, certain, and unhurried. They had been guarded. Now they were guided. They had been protected. Now they were productive. They carried those lessons to build what they once dreamed. His words echo outward, and the horizon expands with color. The eternal speaks again, not in thunder, but in the gentle tone of a parent whispering encouragement to his child. Every time they choose joy over fear, the braced universe widens. Every time they choose compassion over resentment, they become a lighthouse for someone else. They must not hide their light. The world needs it. This truth must settle deep within them. They are no longer defined by what they escaped. They are defined by what they embody now: resilience, faith, gentleness. Their past is not a prison. It is a library. They take the wisdom gathered there and write new pages with it. Now they lift their face to the sky once more. The light touches them differently now. It doesn't just fall on them. It radiates from them. That is the final sign that the transformation is complete. When they finish listening to this message, they take a quiet action to mark the moment: lighting a candle, stepping outside to watch the sky, or writing a single line of gratitude. Physical gestures anchor spiritual change. They tell the body what the spirit already knows: it is done. And when night comes again, as it always will, they do not dread it. Night is no longer an enemy. It is simply another canvas for light. They close their eyes, knowing that even in darkness they are seen, they are held, and they are loved beyond measure. And so they go forth. They walk gently. They forgive freely. They rejoice often. They create boldly. They love endlessly. For thus they honor the divine protection they have received. And as they journey through days ahead, they remember the truth the Lord wrote in every sunrise. No spirit of fear can remain where love chooses to dwell. They are the living proof of that. They always were. They always will be.